we're going to open up just a few questions. I'll ask two, and then we'll open up to the group. What do you believe is one of the most challenging things affecting professional sports today?
I think finding a way to create a value equation that really works for most people outside of broadcasting is really critical. You know, to go to one of our games is not inexpensive. It's roughly the cost of a movie ticket, and then if you buy novelties or food, add that on top of it. Our food is cheaper than at a movie theater. But if you go and see the same kind of event across the street, for a family of four, that's going to cost you $400. And I think that we're kind of moving to a point where that event is losing its value as part of the equation. So I think if we can find a way to get to a point where it's more fair and more affordable, that works.
What would you like your legacy to be?
You know, for me, the most important legacy, Brian, would be this wonderful creation that Lynn and I came up with called Madison. She's a sophomore in college and the love of our life, and if we've done well by her, we've done pretty well.
Great. Let's open up to the group. What questions do we have? Yes, right here.
Yes, as we march towards the future, how do you envision new technology will be used to innovate this industry, particularly artificial intelligence and automation?
It's a great question. So the question is, as we move into the future, how do you think technology will affect baseball, whether it be artificial intelligence or other things?
First, let's talk about on the field. It won't happen at Major League Baseball, but it will happen in our league first. And at some point, we will move away from live umpires to electronic officials. Second, you have to understand the economics of a minor league baseball team. If they're really good and they're doing really well, it's a $10 to $12 million gross revenue business. There's some commercial laundromats that do more money than that. So they have limited resources with which to market their team. And traditional advertising, as we know it, whether it's broadcast advertising, print on paper, and all the trinkets and collaterals that you normally see, really are outmoded for what we're trying to do. And increasingly, we're all trying to figure out the key to utilizing digital technology, whether it's social media or whatever else is on the horizon, to promote our sport.
No umpires, huh? That makes the fun of the whole game. I mean, come on, you got to yell at somebody out there. What other questions we have? Yes?
There seems to be an incredible discrepancy between the winners and the losers. Is it Dayton that sold out every game for
Dayton Lugnuts.
years?
Yep.
And then still you have not an inordinate amount of bankruptcies, relocations, etc. Where are those factors? What are driving those trends? The discrepancy.
So it sounds like there's a challenge between winners and losers with regards to the teams, and it's widening, and what's causing that?
You know, that's actually a great question, and it leads to a pretty easy answer. The reason for that, in my view, is twofold. Markets are unique. You know, Denver is different than Houston. Houston is yet again different than New York City. And the administrative acumen in those markets is different. Now in Dayton, I was just reading about them the other night. They've had an incredible run of 16 seasons, I think, of sellouts. There's nothing else to do in the summertime. You can play putt-putt golf, go bowling, or you can go to the movie theater. They relate to their community in a very interesting way, and that's exactly what they should be doing. But the answer, if you can reconcile community and acumen, is, in my judgment, a top-down governance of sport and a central controlling feature with, if not 100%, the majority effect of revenue sharing. That is the reason, at its core, that the National Football League has been so successful. And that is the reason in franchise-driven sports like baseball, hockey, less so in basketball, that they struggle so much in terms of economic disparity.
Let's take one more question. Who's got one? Anyone? Right here.
So looking back at the grad school student,
So the question is, what moment in your life that you wish you would have taken and run with? And which is the other one now? Want to repeat it?
The moment you're most proud of.
The moment you're most proud of.
Well, in grad school, in college in general, I made some really stupid mistakes. I chose the school that I went to entirely because of baseball. I was offered a full ride at USC. I ended up going to Chapman University. Had I gone to USC, I would have been number 14 on the depth chart at the position of catcher. I would have never played. Not a great decision. USC is a little better than Chapman College. You asked about grad school, but I'm going to talk about my major. I was a psych major as an undergrad. I mean, I was just trying to coast. Now, I did pretty well, but when I went to grad school, I was faced with some choices. All of them were the worst decision I could have made, and I didn't make the best decision I could have made. I should have gone to law school. I really should have gone to law school. And for what I ended up doing, it would have equipped me better than a psych degree and an MBA. Now, an MBA wasn't bad, but here's what a smart guy I am. I was accepted out of college to the JFK School of Government Studies at Harvard University. I was one of 24 people who were accepted into that program. It's incredibly difficult to get into. I was incredibly fortunate to be selected. I had won an international fellowship, and I didn't want to interrupt 2 years of grad school, Harvard or not, by going to Scotland, studying for a year, and then coming back and studying another year. So instead, I shopped for a school that accepted me that would get me out of there in a year. That's why I did the master's thesis at Purdue, which is a fine school, and I'm indebted to them, but a really stupid decision. It worked out. It worked out, but so those weren't good decisions. In terms of lasting stuff, I can't help but look at some of those anecdotes I shared with you, but overall, the contributions I hope that were sustainable and ongoing through the medium of Major League Baseball properties. I did that when I was 32, and that was kind of a cool, heady thing for a kid when, I was a kid at 32, and that's why I'm indebted to you, Bharath. Pete really helped me. So.
Let's give Rick a round of applause.